So mainly this session is about artistry, the first session in the morning. And we will speak here about mainly how coaches should see the exercises to be able to interpret it so judges can evaluate it. So we have now, which is new, independent score from the technical execution, and artistry itself has 10 points. So it has a big scale for the score. It is no longer combined penalty with the technical execution. This is new now. If you can see in the code of point, it is not mentioned how many number of exercises you can choose with words or how many number of exercises you can choose without words. So it means that it is open, it is unlimited. You can choose one, you can choose two, you can choose all the 4 exercises. They can be with words. So it depends on the gymnast's selection of the music with her coach, if she wants to use the music with words or without words. So choice of the music is the main core, is everything that decides the meaning of the exercise. It decides everything. So the start of it is very important. Can you switch off the mics, please? So we have, for the individual artistic faults, we have character of the movement. We have 0.3, we have 0.5, and we have 1 point.
बच्चों आपको नहीं किया
Okay, we have the 0.3 when it is majority of the exercise has character. But we take this penalty out when it is present in most of the exercise, but missing in some connections. Not all connections have character. When missing some D parts, but not all. So it means that the character has to be there in all exercise and during the difficulty elements and during the connection. When it's missing in some parts, you take the penalty 0.3. (0.5) penalty when it's present, but you don't see it except in some connections, missing during the difficulty elements, difficulty parts. She's not doing any character, so you take the 0.5. For the 1 point, you take absent in all the exercise. You do not see any character. For dance steps are evaluated separately. Aside from the character, they have their own penalties. So we have missing 1 dance step combination, with rhythm and character. And we have missing 2 dance step combinations. So now artistic judge is the one who is checking the dance steps. They are evaluated separately on their own specific merits, which means that they are on their own specific rules, and they do not go into the evaluation of character and movement. So they are an independent penalty if you have dance steps or you don't have dance steps. What is a dance step combination? How do we evaluate it? A dance step combination is a sequence of movements with body and apparatus dedicated to expressing the style of the music. So it must have a defined character. Must be according to the character, the rhythm, the accents of the music, the tempo, all of this has to follow. Each exercise must have minimum of 2 dance combinations. So we are required to see a minimum of 2, maybe 3, it's up to the coach, but we need to see a minimum of 2. What's the defined character of movement for the steps? These are the steps which reflect the style. So it's the theme of movement, whatever you want to do, but you have to make me feel the exercise, make me feel the movement. So it can be classical dance, any ballroom dance steps, any folkloric dance steps, any modern dance steps. So it's up to you what you choose with the music, but whatever music you choose, you have to convey this character to us. So how can you convey a classical dance steps? So this exercise can be conveyed in a classical as an inspiration. You see her arms, her legs, her waves in the dance steps with her body running, all are inspiration from the classical music. Also here, this is an example for the group. Also, they had an inspiration from the music and they conveyed the character in some movements. What about folkloric dance steps? We all know Pashava's exercise. We all know this exercise and how she conveyed the character. And here we can see that she has managed to put two steps attached to each other. So the character of the exercise, the inspiration and the dance steps that showed the character was very clear. So she was inspired by her folkloric dance steps. She conveyed it and she made it clear in the exercise, visible. Another style of folkloric dance steps . This is one style. Here in this exercise, if you can see the inspiration coming from the other folkloric dance step, she used her hands, her legs to express the music in the folkloric dance. While here she used her clubs, sometimes her hands, but usually her character was conveyed by the clubs itself. And in some moments on accents of the music, the character was conveyed by the clubs, by the throws, by the push of the clubs. So she can give you the accents and character of these dance steps. You can also go to another folkloric dance. If you can see the mix, I tried to play to the two videos together so you can see the inspiration of this dance steps that she put in her routine, the style of the music she chose with her folkloric dance steps that she chose. In this case, the gymnast chose something that she can interpret with the style of the music. Another style also that can be interpreted that we all love are modern dance and Michael Jackson. And here, this group exercise routine, we all remember because we all understood the style and the inspiration that came from. So the inspiration came from Michael Jackson. The gymnast conveyed the dance steps, and it was understood what did they want to do. Also, any modern dance steps can be inspiring for us. This is a very good example.
Comienza como una pasarela.
Actually, in this example, I was inspired when I saw it because I'm not a Madonna person. So I never went to check the real Madonna, how can I say, the real Madonna clip. But when it was put by Lourdes from Portugal for the webinar for artistry by the FIG, and I saw it, and I said, this coach was really talented because she took the inspiration from Madonna and conveyed the character from this exercise. Also, it can be interpretation of the music, just your own interpretation of the music. So it doesn't have to be only from the character of the exercise. So you can choose a music and you interpret it by your own self. Like this example, which we all remember from the World Championships. It was also conveying with the character. Also this gymnast. Why this gymnast? Because this is a South American gymnast that chose a Spanish music, but she could manage to convey the character. And this is important, that what you choose as a music, you have to convey its character. So what is the dance steps requirement? We require 8 seconds, a minimum of 8 seconds in the length. No large throws and no pre-acrobatics are allowed in the dance steps. No less than 8 seconds are allowed, whether it's due to a composition structure or to a presence of the DA element that will interrupt the character of the movement. It will not make it a valid DA. So what does this mean? How many DA I'm allowed to do? Up to you. You want to do 1, you want to do 2. There's nothing mentioned because artistic judges are not judging DA. Artistic judging are only judging dance steps. In that case, if I do not see a full 8 seconds of dance and I see interruption because of the I see interruption in the dance steps because of the DA, then I will not credit this DA. It will not be given. I will penalize it. We also have new penalty, which is body and facial expression. We have the 0.3 and the 0.5. Why we have it 0.3 now? Because nobody cares for the 0.1 penalty. But 0.3, all coaches will work for it. It's a fixed. When you have it a fixed facial expression, without adaptation of the speed or intensity of the exercise or the character. It's the same all over the face and she doesn't change her facial expressions. And if she has partial participation of her body segments in the movement, what does it mean partial? Not all her segments are moving in the exercise. When do I take the penalty 0.5? When there is no expression at all during the whole exercise, or when there is insufficient participation of the body segments, when she's very rigid, stiff. Okay, we also require dynamic change. contrasts in the speed and intensity of the movements. When there is a change in the music, we change in our speed, whether it's from slow to fast, fast to slow, including the short, strong poses. This is dynamic change. When we have less than 2 dynamic changes in the exercise, it is penalized. For group exercise, when we have less than 3 dynamic changes, and it needs for group all 5 gymnasts to be in at least one dynamic change by all 5 gymnasts together. This dynamic change can be created. So it can be created and it can be present throughout the exercise. I want you here to see with Mamoun the dynamic changes in her exercise when the music is slow, how she changes her accents of music. When the music is fast, how she throws her ribbon or has high accents. This was one dynamic change when the music changed from slow to strong when she made the ribbon throw. This was one. This is second. So when she went soft, she changed her intensity. And this was the third one. When she threw the ribbon, she started by the accent, by the high, 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 going up with the jump. And when the high accent came, she threw her ribbon to slide it to be on the accent, the high accent. And this is another dynamic change. And you could see without explaining her final when it was a very strong ending. So in this exercise, you could see more than 2 dynamic changes. She could easily show it to everybody. Let's see this group exercise with their dynamic changes. This is one. They were slow and then they started to be fast. Here is second, when they started to be slow again. Here is another change in speed. So it is visible when the music changes, the intensity of the gymnast have to change and not to be monotone in all the exercise, the same level. We need to create contrast for the effect. We need to have contrasts. So this is an example, old one, but we still remember it. Here, she's creating the contrast. Again, here she's creating the contrast with the slow movement. So we could see here in this exercise how she created the contrast, even the music did not change. She created it. Also this example. Here they created contrast. The music was still in the same monotone, but they made against it. So it's in our minds, something happened against it. So there was a contrast effect. New, we are requiring the body and apparatus effect. This is specific elements with specific accents, creating an effect recognizable by the spectators, by the viewers. The purpose of such effect is to have original relationship between the music and specific moments, to have a unique composition, to identify it from all the others. So simple, it can be simple and complex movements can create this effect if it is performed with clear intention to highlight this specific part in the exercise, in the moment, in the music. So we have examples, but of course they are not limited. How to create this effect on the accents and phrases. You can do it with DB, with Rs, with the DA, when you put them, when you choose the moment on the specific accent, strong and clear, that best match the energy of this music. So you have to be wise as a coach, how to choose the elements, where in which moment are the interesting accents or phrases of the music, to have the maximum impact of this relationship between the music and the movement. So creating this relationship should be a surprise effect. It should not be something I'm expecting. We should use different trajectories. For example, very high throws in front, to the side, planes of the apparatus, levels of the set, different high throws. So they can emphasize the music. The work of the apparatus can also help you to emphasize the music. So in RGI, if we have one missing apparatus effect, it will be penalized. For groups, it's 2. So specific elements with specific music, how do they create the effects? You see this tin, and she used her throw on this moment. Again. Here in the group. So in the group here, you saw 2 moments. 2 moments where in the beginning, when with their feet, And it was this with the specific music when they made with the hoops first, rolling of the hoops, and then they turned with the music. And the second one was the accent when they threw the hoops on the high music. So this gave the effect with the music, with the specific. Be attentive that an overuse of the same technique of throw and or catches influences the effect and impression of the composition, and it will cause penalty. More than 3 identical throws or catches will make for you penalty. So be careful with this overuse. For groups, we have the types of collective work. We have the synchronization, which is simultaneous execution together. We have the choral. We have a simultaneous execution together of different movement by 5 gymnasts or in subgroups with different amplitude or speed or direction. We have rapid succession after each other or canon, one after the other. Contrast when they are doing different things. So we have these various types of collective work. It can be in DB, it can be in difficulty exchange, it can be in the waves, in fundamental apparatus elements, and R in difficulty collaboration, in any part in the artistic component. We need a minimum of 2 of each of the collective work. 2 of each type is required. And this is judged by the artistic judge. Formations, this is also new. Insufficient variety in the design or amplitude of the formations, which means that we need to have it wide and close formation, because we saw that many groups are working like working in a theater, just looking to the judges without going into close formation, open formation, different formation. So there is a penalty if the same formation is maintained in the same place for more than 2 difficulties in a row. If I stay in the same formation 2 times after each other, I take this penalty. Okay, also, I don't know why this arrow went up. It's a mistake, but we have, for collaborations, we have CC, which is already required minimum 3 CC, so we don't need to have it a requirement in artistry, but it's a requirement to have 2 of each type of collaboration in artistry. So we don't have an overwhelming from any type of the exercise. So we need C2 arrows 2 times, catch of the C2 arrows 2 times, CR, and C lifting. Each type is required 2 times of collaboration. The unity. It's important to have a relationship of the artistic component together to create a unified idea. So there must be continuity. It cannot be just blocks in the exercise. It has to be all united together, all sequential. So one or several severe technical faults which breaks the unity of the exercise, which forces the gymnast to stop doing an artistic image for several seconds, it is penalized 1 time as an all at the end of the exercise. So unity is either that there is no exercise, that there is no unity in the exercise from the beginning to the end, or because the gymnast had a lot of technical faults exercise that stopped for some seconds her continuity of the exercise. She couldn't convey the message. connections now are up to 2 points. From 0, 1 up to 2 points. What is connections? Connections, how do you connect each element with the other? How do you go from this difficulty to the other difficulty? You need to have some connections. Why are you going from this direction to the other direction? How are you going in this way? This is all connections of the routine. So it should not be a series of elements, just one after the other. It can be a hand, it can be a pause, it can be a way of movement, a way of running on the carpet. So anytime I feel there is illogical connection, there is a penalty of 0.1 up to 2 points. For the group exercise, it's the transition of formation between the formations for changing positions on the floor without any choreography. How are they changing themselves? How are they going from one formation to the other formation? So this is new to you. This is what RGTC, Daniela and Mrs. Shuhoko have prepared. Thanks to them, they have prepared these forms that you can see now that will be used for competitions. How we will use the exercises. And this is important. How we will penalize. How we will penalize. How we will penalize. How we will penalize. Can you please close the mic? Okay. We will watch those two routines, and in these two routines, I want you to see the unity of the composition, the expressions, the accents, the dynamic changes, how all of this created the artistry to the perfection. Next exercise. So here you could see how they use their apparatus, how you use their body segments, how they made connections, how they could interpret the music with their body elements that they chose. Now for groups, this is the new forms that we're going to use. Also thanks to Shihoko and Daniela that they prepared, that you can see them on the screens with us here in the presentation. This is how we are going to use the forms for judging. And those are 3 routines that we're gonna watch also, that until now are one of the memorable routines that are still in our memories for being the best artistry, for components of the exercise, for the expression, for the use of the apparatus, for the dynamic change, for the use of the apparatus to express the music. 1 from Tokyo and 2 from London. Let's watch them. So by the artistic part, you can see how they interpreted with the exercise, with the music, with the apparatus, with the high accent, with the change of the style. And this is why we say that these were a momentum exercises that can be remembered all the time. We have finished by now the artistry. And I will check the questions on the chat. Just for a moment, I like always to work with the code of points. Penalties for connections up to 1 point for group exercise, yes. Can the dance steps be repeated in another combination? No, you cannot repeat the same dance steps. They have to be different dance steps. May I ask you in page 23, section 2, 5, 12, okay. What does it mean, heel support? Heel support when you go down from releve to flat foot. And this is when we explain between balance and rotation. You can, if you have the first is balance and you want to go to heel support, you can go down and make the plie or support to take the force. On releve must be doing the body difficulty. In general, yes, but in some balances, you can go down on flat foot and decrease the value by 0.1, and some rotations can be on flat foot. So in general, everything has to be on releve. Thank you very much for this session. Gyozal, is it possible to take a 15 minutes break?
Yes, I think yes, possible. But
yes.
I say for you, thank you for artistic, very excellent, very good examples for artistic. Thank you, Noha.
Thank you, Gyozal, so much. We can start again in 7:30. For me, 7:30. For me, 30.
For us, 10:30. Yes.
For you, 10:30.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We have 10 minutes, ladies.
Yes. Thank you.
We keep the meeting running, okay? So we meet after 10 minutes.
16도 진짜 2022년만 안 남았는지 계속 하는 건가요?
We are starting very soon, in a few minutes, the second session.
Okay, we are back for groups. Are we all back? It's exactly 30. When do you think we can start, or I wait a few moments?
Yeah, I think you can start because it's almost everybody's here. So you can proceed. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, for group exercise, the generalities that we have applied for individuals apply for groups. The same principles of the judging panels, it's the same. We have no change in the principle of the judging panels. They are the same structure, the same DB, the same DA number of judges, same artistry for judges, and same execution of number of judges. And the final score as an individual, it's the same for groups, is the D score, A score, and E score, and the deduction of the penalties, if any, is from the final score. The difficulty score is included with difficulty of body consists of DB without exchanges, difficulty with exchanges, and dynamic elements with rotation. The difficulty of apparatus consists of difficulties with collaborations. What do we have here? We are required to have a maximum of 10 difficulties, bodies or exchanges. So we have difficulty without exchange, we have minimum 4. Difficulties with exchange, we have a minimum of 4. So 4 and 4 is 8. So, and we have a maximum of 10. So they are 2 by choice, whether the coach would like to have them difficulty with body, difficulty with exchanges, or 1 and 1. It depends how she wants them. We have a special requirement as well. The 2 minimum waves, the same. Minimum 1 jump, 1 rotation, 1 balance. And the dynamic elements with rotation is a maximum of 1 in the exercise. What does it mean, maximum of 1? It means that it's possible not to have any R, but there is only maximum 1 because this is seen as an individual work. The gymnast throws her apparatus to herself, catches it again. So we don't want overuse of this in an exercise for groups. So it is allowed only 1 time in the exercise. The difficulty of apparatus is minimum 3 and maximum 23. In performance order, it means that we go in performance order and check the number of exercises. So difficulty with collaboration is minimum 3, maximum 23. Just 1 moment, please. So we have the difficulty judges. Identify and record difficulties in order of their performance. And this is very important, order of their performance, regardless they are valid or not valid. So we have the first subgroup of judges. They evaluate the number and technical value of difficulties without exchange, difficulties with exchange, and the dynamic elements of rotation. They recognize the waves as well. They record everything in the symbol notation. The second subgroup of judges, they evaluate the number and technical value of difficulties with collaborations and the presence of the required fundamentals, apparatus technical elements. Everything must be in symbol notation. So for body difficulties, minimum 4, maximum 6. Executed in performance order and not the highest like in the individual. This is in performance order. Less than minimum 4 dB, penalty is by the first subgroup, 0.3 points. If a group performs more than 6, there will be no penalty for the additional dB, but it will not be valid, it will not be counted. We need a minimum 1 element of each difficulty of body groups. We need 1 jump, 1 balance, 1 rotation. They can be performed either isolated or executed as a combined difficulty. But if you perform them in a combined difficulty, only with both dB from 1 body group. So if you want to do the jump, or the balance or the rotation, it's from 1 body group if it is combined. It cannot be in an R and it cannot be in a difficulty of exchange. It has to be very visible for the judge. Minimum 1 difficulty, they can be executed simultaneously and not in subgroups. It's not allowed to be done in subgroups. They have to be performed by all 5 gymnasts. One jump, 1 balance, 1 rotation, and they are done simultaneously. Different balances can be performed at the same time. Simultaneously also. But the body difficulty must be executed by all 5 gymnasts to be valid. Look at one gymnast, she did not. If one gymnast does not perform the BD is not valid. What about here?
Okay.
2 gymnasts do not have a complete base rotation, so the body difficulty is not valid. Just one moment, please. Sorry for this interruption, but my daughter was going down to school. So I'm sorry for this inconvenience. So I have the difficulty of body. It's dB. Must be in connection with the apparatus, whether it's a fundamental or a non-fundamental. If the apparatus technical element is performed at the beginning or during or towards the end of the difficulty body. Again, we have the isolated dB under the flight, the same like individual, of a high throw or a boomerang is valid, according to the following. Isolated dB under the flight of a high throw or boomerang of the apparatus is valid in the exercise as long as the dB is executed according to the basic characteristics. An isolated dB performed under a small throw is not valid, as we said before. And an isolated dB is performed under the flight. It is not possible to perform another dB of any value with the throw or the catch. So isolated dB are only allowed under the flight. If the apparatus is lost after the dB under the flight, the dB is not valid. Same principle exactly as in individuals. A combined difficulty may not be performed under the flight, and series of jumps or leaps includes throw the apparatus during the first dB, second dB under the flight, and catch during the third dB. So this is the exception only to have under the flight. If it's a series of 3, throw on the beginning, catch under, throw in the beginning, jump under, and catch on the third. If the apparatus is lost at the end, the second and the third jumps are not valid. Why? Because they do not have a technical movement of the apparatus. The combined body difficulties, it's not allowed for more than one combined body difficulty in an exercise for the group. And we explained all the combined body difficulties yesterday in our presentation, so we don't need to go and explain it more today. The full body wave, we explained it also yesterday. It should be a sequential movement, the same principle, only all 5 gymnasts must be performed identically. This is very important, not different. To credit it as a judge, to recognize it, they all have to have it identical. Full body wave is not valid if this requirement is not met. Every body wave can be performed either simultaneously or in very rapid succession by the gymnasts together or in subgroups. The same principle exactly. It can be body difficulties from the tables 11 and 13 or different modifications from them, different planes, different start positions or arm movements, full wave forward or passing from the floor, full wave backward standing or with passing to the floor, side wave, spiral wave on 2 legs or 1 leg, or full wave performed on the floor. Exactly the same principles of individuals. Waves that are from the body difficulties are included from the 6 body difficulties. Remember, we take in performance order. So if you decide to take from the body difficulty tables, they are calculated in your 6 body difficulties. Full body waves, which are modifications of the dB waves, they can be performed isolated or connected to the other difficulties without any additional difficulty value to fulfill this requirement. An exercise with less than the 2 full body waves will be penalized 0.3 for each missing wave. Each missing wave, and this is very important. Fundamental and non-fundamental apparatus technical elements. Every apparatus, of course, as we saw in individuals, has 4 fundamental apparatus technical elements and have non-fundamentals apparatus technical elements. Each group must have a minimum number of the specified fundamental apparatus technical elements. They are performed by all the 5 gymnasts simultaneously or in very rapid succession. Example. If we have the same apparatus, 5 balls, 2 gymnasts perform the roll, large roll. Immediately after, they can do the other 3, the large roll. This is recognized as one time this fundamental apparatus technical element large roll, not as 2 times. So all 5 gymnasts must participate either simultaneously or in very rapid succession. All of them must take part in the fundamentals. For the mixed apparatus, because of course not all of them have the same fundamentals, if 2 gymnasts execute a figure 8, at the same time, the 3 gymnasts execute spirals. So this is recognized as one fundamental apparatus technical element of figure 8 and one fundamental apparatus technical element of spirals. 0.3 penalty for each missing specified fundamental apparatus technical element, not performed simultaneously or in very rapid succession also. Penalty for missing the minimum required number of fundamental apparatus technical element is applied when at least one of the group gymnasts has not attempted at all. It means that she didn't even try to do it, to perform the specified fundamental apparatus technical element. When may be performed? When can we see them? During the dance steps combination. Difficulties without exchange, difficulties with exchange, difficulties with collaborations, or any connecting element between the difficulties. Certain apparatus technical elements, which include the 2 required actions, the release and catch, they validate only 1 dB, only 1 DA element. The bounce of the ball, it's a bounce, release, and catch. So it only validates 1 dB or the DA. The small throw and catch, 1 DA or 1 dB. Rebound of any apparatus, échappée of the ribbon. Anything that has release and catch small, it only validates one thing. It cannot validate 2 DAs. It cannot validate 2 dB, only 1 dB, even if it has 2 actions. So fundamental apparatus element can be in the dance steps. You saw the mills, you saw the rotation, you saw in their dance steps, they could include everything there. They can be performed during the dance steps. High throw and catch from a high throw are 2 different apparatus groups. So if a high throw is correctly executed for a DB or a DA, DA here we mean collaborations, but it's a general term, difficulty of apparatus. but the subsequent catch from a high throw results in a loss of apparatus, the base high throw is valid, and the base catch from a high throw is not valid. Same principle like an individual. So fundamental apparatus technical elements, this is the requirement for hoop. We need 2 large roll and 2 rotations around its axis. It's different from individuals. We do not require minimum 1 rotation of the hoop or the passing through. We only require the 2 the 2 fundamentals, the 2 large rolls and the 2 rotations of the hoop around its axis. For the ball, we require the 2 large rolls and the 2 figure 8s. For the clubs, we require the 2 mills and the 2 small throws. For the ribbon, we require the spirals and the snakes, or spirals or swordsmen, up to the coach. So it's not a requirement like an individual, the boomerang or the échappé. One moment, please. So we have the high throw of the apparatus, more than 2 heights of the standing gymnast, high throw of 2 clubs, catch of the apparatus from the flight of a high throw, and catch of 2 clubs from the flight of a high throw. So it's the same like individuals. Height of the throws, again, it's the same, is measured from the point of release. High throw, double the height. Small throw and catch of the apparatus from the flight is again the same principle, is close to the body and not more than 2 heights of the standing gymnast. There is no more anything called medium throw. So anything less than 2 heights is small throw. So we have the throw, thrust, push into the air, rebound on the body with the apparatus dropped from a height or a free fall. For a throw of 1 clubs with or without 360 rotation, for throw of 2 clubs locked together with or without 360 rotation. Those are all considered small throws, less than 2 heights. High versus small throws when the body is moving during the throw. We measure from the point of the release. Non-fundamental apparatus technical elements is a DB under the flight. And it should be under a high throw. Difficulty with exchange. Exchanges, we have throwing on apparatus, receiving the apparatus from the partner. It is performed from a high or long throw by all 5 gymnasts participating in these 2 actions, the throwing and the receiving. And we have the base value of the exchange. It is only valid if we have a high or long throws or large throws, but boomerang is not allowed. An exchange neither high or long, so none of the principles are applied. It is not a valid exchange. Why I said the point of release is the point where the moment is measured for the height or the distance for the type of throw. So high throws are determined by the required height. What does it mean? It means 2 heights of the gymnast. This is called high throws. We need 2 heights of the gymnasts. This is called high throws. If it is not high, then the exchange is not valid. We check the point of the release. If it is not high, then the exchange is not valid. Then we have the long throws. The long throws are determined by the distance of a minimum of 8 meters. We don't have now the 6 meters, we have 8 meters, minimum of 8 meters between the gymnasts. So we have the distance of 8 meters must be between those gymnasts exchanging with each other at the moment of throw or at the moment of the catch. So I must have either high, double the height, or long, distance of 8 meters. So these are the examples of formations with 8 meters. They are of course not limited to this, but these are examples that we thought of them that can give idea how the 8 meters can be achieved. These are examples that the 8 meters are not there. It's without 8 meters, small formations. So immediately if you see these formations, you immediately understand that this is without 8 meters. So we need to see high throws, not long throws. Okay, what is it that we see large throws? Large throw is when it is combined together, high and long. So you have 2 heights of the gymnast and 8 meters between the gymnasts. And this is called large throws. So the difficulty with exchange may be performed by the 5 gymnasts together or in subgroups when they are exchanging one type of the apparatus. With the same or different heights, if they are in subgroups of the throws of the apparatus, with the gymnast in place or traveling, with difficulty exchange performed in subgroups, the first subgroup must catch the apparatus before the second subgroup throws the apparatus. So I have to finish this subgroup to start the second subgroup. To be visible, is it high or long or large? So I need to understand, what is this subgroup going to do? This is very important point. Otherwise, the exchange will not be valid if they overlap each other. In very rapid succession, you can see the enough height or if they have 8 meters. The most important part in this exchange is that you can see the first subgroup first finishes and catches, and then the second subgroup starts. What about difficulty with exchange with 2 types of apparatus? They can be with the same or different heights of the throws of the apparatus, with the gymnast in place or traveling. Again, the apparatus or the second subgroup throws the apparatus to be valid. The same principle like one apparatus, but the most important thing is each subgroup must have the same apparatus to be valid. And this is something new. If I have the 3 ribbons, the same subgroup are exchanging 3, and the second subgroup are exchanging 2 balls. So this is very visible for the judges to see the exchange. First subgroup are exchanging 3 ribbons, and the second subgroup are exchanging 2 balls. So we have the requirement minimum 4 and maximum 6 exchanges evaluated in performance order will be counted. If the requirement of minimum 4 difficulty exchange is not met, penalty by the first subgroup of judges, 0.3 points. If we have a group that performs more than 6 difficulty exchanges, the additional difficulty exchange over the limit will not be evaluated, but no penalty. Also, this is now new for the difficulties with exchange. Isolated difficulty body with any value may be performed either on the throw or under the flight or on the catch of the difficulty exchange. The DB and the difficulty exchange are both evaluated and will be registered in the total number of difficulty body and difficulty exchange. You cannot do combined during difficulty exchange. If there is more than 1 dB in an exchange, only the first dB will be evaluated as dB and counted toward the number of dB. But the difficulty exchange will still be valid. So if I have more than 1, I will give only the first one, cancel the second one, and the difficulty exchange will be valid. If I take the same, if I take a DB, it has to be performed the same DB by all 5 gymnasts. It can DB on the throw, DB under the flight, or DB on the catch. Any DB which is defined by rotation or a position on the floor, same principle, will be only counted as a DB. Same principle like in individuals. Any difficulty body performed without exchange cannot be repeated in an exchange difficulty. A repetition will not be valid, no penalty, and will not and will be counted the total number of the DB. So how do we evaluate the exchange? We have the base value of exchange, high or long, 0.2. This is the base. Exchange between all 5 gymnasts may be the same value or of different value, but the lowest value of the exchange will determine the value of the difficulty exchange. We can have additional criteria that increase the value, but only valid if executed identically by all 5 gymnasts in the following way. When executed with the same apparatus, example 5 hoops. Identical execution are, what does it mean, identical execution? All 5 hoops are caught without the help of the hands. So if I want to increase the criteria, all 5 gymnasts must perform identical execution criteria, same apparatus. When executed with different apparatus, 3 ribbons and 2 balls, for examples, identical criteria performed with each apparatus. For example, the 3 ribbons are catching outside of visual field, and the 2 balls are catching without the help of the hands. So this is identical. For each apparatus, they have to have the identical criteria. Same number of criteria for each type of apparatus must be performed on the throw and or the catch. So we have to have the same number of criteria to increase the value. For rotation performed identically by all 5 gymnasts on the throw, under the flight, or during the catch, also it can increase the value. Criteria performed immediately before the throw of the apparatus or immediately after the catch are not considered within the exchange. Any identical repetition, any same identical exact repetition of the same criteria, it cannot be performed again. Repetition of the same criteria is not evaluated, but the exchange is still valid, but exactly the same repetition of the same criteria performed, it will not be valid. So we have criterias, explanations of these criterias. We have the large throw, because it includes height and distance. It's the only one with 0.2. We have the outside visual, which we explained yesterday. It's a 0.1. We have the rotation, minimum 360 degrees, remember, and each rotation must be different. To take catch during is only valid when performed with one of the criteria, outside visual and or without hands. It's different in groups. So it's an 0.1. Position on the floor is the same like we explained yesterday. The rebound, exactly the same as we explained, throws after bounces on the floor or catch with a rebound on the body or with a rebound on the floor. Criteria for the exchanges, throw with rotation around its axis for the hoop, or direct catch with rolling of the apparatus of, over the body. This is a specific criteria for catch. Remember that you do not take additional criteria without the help of the hands when caught by the arm, regardless of the position of the palm. You do not take without hands for the catch direct in a roll. We have the same criteria as explained yesterday in throwing of the clubs and catch of the 2 simultaneous clubs. Direct catch of the hoop in rotation is not valid when you catch it in the arm. You do not take without hands, because when you catch it with the arm here, it's not without hands. Okay. This is the same like for individuals. The throw of 2 unclocked clubs. This criterion is given only once for a throw that is performed either asymmetric or cascade. You give it only once or simultaneously. But if you are catching, criteria is given only for a club which is exchanged to a partner. But if you are catching, the 2 unlocked clubs is only given when caught simultaneously. You don't give for asymmetric and cascade. You give only for catching simultaneously. The dynamic elements with rotations. It's a high throw, 2 or more dynamic elements with rotation under the flight and catch of the apparatus. Maximum 1 R will be counted. If more than 1 R, only the first R is evaluated without a penalty. Rotation and R must be identical for all group gymnasts. All of them must do the same, not different for each gymnast. The arm may be performed by the group gymnasts simultaneously in very rapid succession or in subgroups. How we do it and the values and the criteria and increase, we explained it yesterday, but the most important thing for group is the directions. Now this is new for the group because there are 5 gymnasts and it's not easy for the judges to see how many rotations and criteria the 5 gymnasts perform. So this is a requirement for are in groups. If R is performed by the group gymnasts simultaneously, like together, or in very rapid succession, all 5 gymnasts must perform R in the same direction. All must go in the same direction. And this is an example how they must all go in the same direction. Again, you can watch it. If it's performed in circle in circle formation simultaneously or in rapid succession, R is not valid if they are going in different directions. It will not be valid. So in this way, how they performed, R will not be valid, different directions. If R is performed in subgroups, each subgroup may use a separate direction. It's allowed, but only if the first subgroup finishes, then the second subgroup starts. If this requirement is not met, the R will not be valid. This is the only exception, that they can go in different directions if they are in subgroups. If the first subgroup finishes, then the second subgroup can start. The pre-acrobatic elements may be used in R, the same for all 5 gymnasts, either isolated in a series or repeated within one R in any order. R, which includes different rotations performed by all 5 gymnasts, is not valid. This we explained. The base value of R can be increased by using additional criteria, the same like individuals, but additional criteria may be performed during the throw of the apparatus, under the flight, or during the catch of the apparatus. The value of this R is determined by the lowest value number of rotations criteria performed by the gymnast. So the lowest number criteria by all 5 gymnasts. DB with rotation also is accepted for R, 360 degrees or more, with a value of 0.2 or more. Maximum 1 time in each R, and will be valid as an element of rotation and a DB, the same principle. The DB with rotation or more with a value of 0.2 may be performed during the throw or the catch of the apparatus. If the DB is performed during the throw, but the apparatus is lost, the DB is valid, but the R is not valid. It is not possible to include a DB without rotation. This we explained before. And now we go for difficulty with collaborations. We will take 10 minutes break and start difficulties with collaborations. Before I start the difficulties with the collaborations, I will go after the break with your questions.
Okay, 5 minutes break.
mau buatin jurnal teh. Lu terbitin di Makassar. Itu suara kedengeran.
Okay, I was reading your questions so I can be prepared for the answers. We can start, Gyozal, yes?
Yes.
Okay. There is a question yesterday. We were asking about the overlapping between the two bases in one moment in time to be valid as a combined DA. How about the criteria? Should gymnasts be performing the same criteria or it can be performed different criteria? For example, you catch in a roll in a balance passé. These are two bases, catch and roll. There is a moment of overlap. This means that the catch, in the same moment when you're catching, one moment. Just give me one moment. I bring my daughter's apparatus. Okay. When she caught the hoop to make the roll, she didn't stop the hoop and then made the roll. When she caught the hoop coming up, she immediately started her roll. So this is a moment of overlapping. She didn't stop the base, catch, and then perform the roll. There was the moment of overlapping, catching and rolling immediately in the balance passé. So in the balance passé, which is a criteria of a DB, and outside visual, she had the criteria. In the moment of the roll, it started in the catch, she had the passé outside visual, but she continued actually in the roll. So in the base roll, she had two criteria valid. In one moment, it was available, but she didn't stop it. This is the meaning of the moment of overlapping of the two bases. Like when we saw yesterday in the mills. You can do the mills, stop, and do the small throw. Or, this is no overlapping, yes? I stopped my clubs. I managed to make the mills, stop, you could see my stop, and then make the small throw. I don't want to break my computer, okay? So, but in the yesterday example, when she did the mills and immediately made the small throw. She didn't stop. You didn't see a moment of interruption. You didn't see a pause. And this is the meaning of overlapping. Integrated together. Smoothly working together those two moments. So this is what we mean by two moments of overlapping. One of them must have the two criteria. The page 35 that we speak about level, we remember when I explained head and neck to the shoulders. This is one level. Chest and waist is another level. And below waist to the feet is the third level. And you remember yesterday when we saw the example of the gymnast who performed transmission in penché under the leg, and then she performed transmission in 5 jeté entrenade under the leg. And we explained that this is the same level because they are all under the waist. And this is the explanation of apparatus handling. How you can say different levels.
Yes.
Where is the repetition?
This one.
Yes, Rika.
That and his.
Can we click the mics so I can hear Rika?
Transmission here.
Where, not your mic, Rika, not your mic, the other mic. You can speak.
Okay. She is transmission here under the
Yes.
leg, but like this.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you are asking where is, and you are asking which level is this?
Yes.
Okay. I will go with you how you understand it. Where is the transmission here? How do you see it, Rika? Where do you see this transmission going? Yes, where? Neck, waist, below the waist? Here. Yes. So this is the level here because it's transmitting here. It's not below the waist. Is it clear?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, clear. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, position on the floor. Can you explain position on the floor? Okay. Position on the floor is simply you are lying on the floor. Your trunk must be on the floor. Because now everybody in this current code of points just sits on the knees and takes position on the floor. No, in the new code of points, the whole trunk, whether you are facing the floor or facing up, okay, has to be fully on the floor. The legs, at least the leg must be touching so you can be fully on the floor. Maybe one leg is up and the other one is on the floor. It's okay to have the possibility to move, but the full trunk must be on the floor. I can show you, wait, some examples which are not on the floor. Positions that are not on the floor. Give me one example. I will share my screen with you. Can you see my screen? Okay. These are not valid positions on the floor. Why? Because the trunk is not on the floor. This is trunk not on the floor. Trunk not on the floor. This is the trunk not on the floor because her body is up. Trunk not on the floor, so this is not a position on the floor. This is also not a valid position on the floor because the trunk is not on the floor. This is also not position on the floor. Also not a position on the floor because the full trunk is not on the floor. Not a position on the floor, the trunk is not on the floor, her back is up. Not a position on the floor because her back is up. So all of these examples, I can show you again, are not positions on the floor. They are not valid for positions on the floor.
Noha, I had a question.
Can you write it down, because I'm reading the rest of the questions? I'm going in order.
I'm not able to write it down. So can I speak and explain?
Can I finish the rest? Oh, okay, because
Sure.
I'm going in order. Thank you.
Oh, no problem.
Okay, so we finished this. Now the next question, if the gymnast performs an identical criteria to increase the value of difficulty exchange, but performs it differently from each other, will the criteria still be counted? For example, gymnast is using catch without the hands, but the other gymnast is standing, but one is on the floor. So you mean the same principle of catching without hands, but in different ways. Is this the example? I believe this is the example. Because the same example comes later after with another same apparatus, 5 balls, 2 gymnasts executed without hands, 2 used legs to catch the balls, and the 3 gymnasts used to use other part of the body to catch the balls. We finish in the same criteria, but with different ways. Is it okay? In principle, I believe it's okay, but this is a very good question. I will take it to the technical committee, because in principle, we say without the help of the hands, identically, but we said identically. So let me check to the code of points first, how we mentioned it exactly. I always like to refer to the code of points. Identical execution. So in principle, it have to be identical, not different. So the judge can see them easily. But this question, I will take it to the technical committee and put it in the question answer for everybody. In principle, it cannot be, because they have to be done identically without the help of the hands, all of them the same thing. But I will take your question and mention it to the technical committee. If we do exchange on the balance front split without the help, trunk backward at horizontal, what will it be count? Only exchange difficulty or exchange and balance? It will be exchange difficulty, and the value of this balance will go to the DB. So the DB would be counted towards the DB, because we no longer have a DB criteria in the criteria. And this body difficulty performed will go to the number of exchange of the number of body difficulties that you are allowed to perform. Let me go back to the code of points. It will come in the errata in 4213. 4213, the word added to the DE value is wrong. It's not added to the DE value. It is counted towards the number of body difficulties. The value of difficulty exchange will be given, high or long throw with the criteria and everything, because we no longer have DB as criteria. And this DB that you executed is going to the number of difficulty bodies that you can perform, from the 4, minimum 4, maximum 6. Should the body be on the floor from the beginning to an end of the DA? To take the position on the floor, be from the beginning to the end, like outside visual, like the balanced body difficulty, like any criteria. For on the floor, can shoulder be off the floor? Yes, like the example we saw yesterday, it can be raised a little bit off the floor so you can turn if you are rotating on the floor, but the whole trunk must be on the floor. I don't have a video of non-fundamental of ball series of 3 small rolls on the body, but these are the 3 small rolls on the body. When they are assisted rolls on the body, there are 3, not too large. Gymnast throws standing, does front roll, and catches from high, passing through without the help of the hands and lying on the floor. But the code of points says the DA must start from on the floor from start to an end. Yes, so where is the catch? You mean the catch is the criteria, is the base, and catching without the help of the hands, lying on the floor, passing through. You remember we saw the example yesterday when the gymnast passed through her body and we said this is not criteria on the floor because she's not on the floor for the whole thing. It can be wave if she performed it correctly. It can be outside visual. It can be without the help of the hands. It can be passing through, but it cannot be positioned on the floor. We saw this example yesterday because she did not do it completely on the floor from the beginning to the end. Okay, these are the questions that I can see on the chat room. If you have this question that I didn't answer, you can ask me now if you couldn't write it. Do you still have your question to ask me? No, it's clear now. Okay, perfect. Okay, one moment, I open the presentation for difficulty collaboration. Okay, we continue with the difficulties with collaborations. What is collaborations? So the definition is the group exercise must work in cooperative work. Each a relationship with one.
عم يحكوا عن الجروب باخد منه أفكار باخد أفكار
ممكن نقفل المايك بليز؟
مفروض يمكن عملنا جروب عم يرجعوا يعيدوا البودي difficulty.
Microphone, ladies. Switch off.
Noha, can I just, I have noted there's two questions with material images and video. So we'll prepare them later. Once it's okay for you, I will show them. Thank you.
You received them, Marwan, and somebody wants to share them?
Yes, I received 2 questions. One from I forget the names, so just give me a few minutes and I'll show them. So if there's any questions, otherwise I'll show them. No issues.
No problem. At the end of this session, we can share again questions. Don't worry. Okay. Can we please close the mics so I can continue the presentation? Thank you. So we have this collaboration. It's under difficulty of apparatus because it's a work with apparatus. It must be coordinated with apparatus. This is why it's called difficulty collaboration. Each gymnast enters with a relationship with one or more apparatus or with her partner. It requires very high level of coordination between the gymnasts performing it. They can be all 5 gymnasts together or in subgroups, couple, trio, etc., with a variety of traveling directions and formations, with or without direct contact with partners, body or apparatus, with or without rotation, with possible lifting of one or several gymnasts, or with possible support on the apparatus or the gymnasts. These are the types of the collaborations that we have. Collaboration without high or long throws of the apparatus, CC. Collaborations with high throws of the apparatus and dynamic rotation. Collaborations with multiple throws of the apparatus. Collaborations with catch of multiple apparatus. And collaboration with lifting or support on the gymnasts. There is a minimum of 3 CC required in every group exercise. 0.3 for each missing CC. We want to see collaborative work between the gymnasts without high throws. What is it? The CC. And what is it? Collaborations. How do we count it? Each category of collaboration, whether performed, isolated, or combined together, is counted as one collaboration. So this is isolated collaboration. Okay, this is one collaboration. What about this? This is 2 collaborations. This is C, throw of 2 apparatus, C2 arrows, and CR. So it's not counted as one collaboration from the 23. They are counted as 2 collaborations from your maximum 23. So every collaboration is counted. Everything you do is counted from your 23. Minimum 3, maximum 23, they are evaluated in chronological order, in performance order. Less than 3 difficulty collaboration is 0.3. If a group performs more than 23, the extra difficulty collaboration over this limit will not be counted. We will not evaluate it because we take in performance order, but no penalty. How do we evaluate collaborations? And this is very important Because now we can see collaboration overlapping the other collaboration. The judge doesn't know how to start, how to end, where is the beginning of this collaboration, where is the end of the other collaboration. It's a mix. So a collaboration is valid when it has been successfully completed by all the 5 gymnasts. When do we say this is the end? When the gymnast performing the main action, who is rotating, who is catching the 2 apparatus, finally catches her apparatus. The final throw or catch from a rethrow has been caught. So I cannot start to evaluate another collaboration until the main gymnast, who is making the main action, has finished and caught the apparatus. All 5 gymnasts, even with different roles, must participate. They must be involved in the collaboration, either with direct contact, passing over or under or through a gymnast without contact, or by means of the apparatus. So everybody must collaborate in a collaboration. What does it mean, CC? What is the definition of a CC? It is without high or long throws. All 5 gymnasts of the group create a relationship directly by the gymnasts. They contact each other, or by the apparatus. They have a small throw, roll over the body or on the floor. They bounce or rebound or push or slide. This type of collaboration cannot be valid with high or long throw. It can be performed together or in subgroups. Base value of this CC is 0.3. Yes, it has a high value because we want to see more CC in the exercise. We are encouraging coaches to go more for collaborations without high or long throws. What are the requirements of these CC? With a minimum of 3 identical actions. 3 identical actions with body relationships or apparatus relationships. 1 gymnast performing the identical action a minimum of 3 times in succession. So it can be from 1 gymnast throwing small throws or bouncing or like this, or several gymnasts performing an identical action in succession. What are the valid actions that can be performed? They can distribute the apparatus, lifting support actions on the gymnast or the apparatus, transmission of the apparatus, returning or forwarding the apparatus. Let's see examples. But before we see the examples, we can also increase the CC by each criterion 1 time per CC. Outside the visual, 1 time, and without hands, one time. So the maximum value for a CC to reach is a 0.5. We can maximum reach 0.5. It can be 0.3, the base value, 0.4 if I have one of the criteria. It can be 0.5 if I have both criteria, outside visual or without hands. Additional valid actions which may be performed with the CC is passing over, under, or through the partners, or creating a construction with interrelated apparatus that form an image. All 5 apparatus clearly fixed for 1 second can also be valid for a CC. This is very interesting, but be careful. Requiring 1 image requires all 5 gymnasts to participate and all 5 apparatus, not 3 like the normal CC to require this image, the fixation of the image. The start and final positions are not counted towards this type of difficulty collaboration. The start and final position of the exercise. Those two actions, if you want to make from them the collaboration, cannot be increased by outside visual and without hands. Only 0.3, their points. Let's see example of distribution. How to distribute the apparatus. It's one gymnast distributing the apparatus to her partners, minimum 3 times. Distribution, minimum 3 times of the balls by one gymnast. Though these are 6 gymnasts, but it was very beautiful when we saw it and we decided to show it to you. And this is how the idea came to us, how this gymnast could manage to distribute the balls to all her colleagues, to the 5 gymnasts, in the same moment to go to them in the straight line, and how it gave the effect. It was really beautiful. Okay, she distributed the clubs, but if you can see also, it was very smart from the coach when she used this distribution of the clubs with hey, hey, hey. So she gave the effect also. Remember the artistry part. Lifting or supporting. This is also an example only, but not limited. Okay, 5 gymnasts must participate. It's just an idea. It's also possible if minimum 3 performed in succession. We have the transmissions. Look at the gymnast transmitting the hoop between their legs. Transmissions of the hoop. Returning and forwarding also is part of the CC. This is returning and forwarding. Minimum 3. In. Also, it's possible small throws. minimum 3. But all 5 must participate in a collaboration CC. All 5, remember this is very important. Building a construction. Just 1 second, but you could see the construction in the routine, in the middle of the routine. Remember that you cannot add outside visual without hands in creating a construction. So this is only for a 0.3. Not the beginning pause, but when they made the shape out to create the star. Not this start, but here. This shape, which they created. They created the image of the star. So this one is an image created for 1 second. It can be valid for a CC. Others that can be done also during an exercise. Minimum 3. Okay, so now we explained what is CC. We go to explain what is CR. So the requirement is a throw and catch in collaboration with rotation. High throw more than the 2 heights of the gymnast, or long throw, it's accepted. And long also. The CR is defined by 1 or more gymnasts performing the following sequence of action, which is called the main action. They are doing a high or long or large throw of one or owns apparatus by 1 or more gymnasts. So my main action is I'm doing high or long or large throw. Dynamic element of body rotation during the flight of the apparatus with loss of visual control of the apparatus, followed by an immediate catch of one owns apparatus. So I can throw to myself and catch to myself, or from a partner's apparatus after the dynamic element. The end of the collaboration is when the gymnast performing the main action finally catches her apparatus. The final throw or catch from a rethrow has been caught. This is very important. Throw of the apparatus in a collaboration CR. The throw of the gymnast's own apparatus marks the beginning of this CR. So I must throw my own apparatus. The throw of the apparatus may be performed directly to a partner or to myself. or to herself. The gymnast can throw to herself. Throw may be performed during a rotation for the purpose of achieving additional criteria on the throw, outside visual, without hands. However, the base definition must be met, which is a rotation under the flight. So I can throw on a rotation, but I must have another one under the flight. If I throw on a rotation and I do not have another under the flight, the base definition is not met. But this additional rotation has no additional value. This rotation itself on a throw has no additional value. Catch of the apparatus in CR. The catch of her own apparatus or her partner's apparatus is performed immediately after the dynamic element of rotation. For the catch of a partner's apparatus immediately after the dynamic element of rotation, the apparatus must be in flight from a high or long or large throw while the gymnast is performing a rotation, and not thrown after she completes her rotation. So she cannot receive it after she completes it. If this happens, the collaboration is not valid. She must catch after the dynamic element of rotation immediately. A rotation may be included as part of the catch, again for the purpose of increasing the criteria. However, this additional rotation does not have any value. The catch of the apparatus by the gymnast performing the main action marks the end of this collaboration. Only when she catches, a new collaboration of any type can start. So only when I catch the apparatus, I can start a new collaboration. If not, any new collaboration of any type will not be evaluated before the end of this collaboration. The same categories are the pre-acrobatic elements, the vertical rotations, and the DB with rotations 360 degrees or more. Each group from the 14 groups that we have of pre-acrobatic elements may be used one time in collaboration rotation, either isolated in a series or repeated with one collaboration in any order. So only one time. If a group of pre-acrobatic elements is repeated, isolated, or in a series, in another collaboration, even with deflation, straight leg, bent leg on the elbows, or standing on the knees, this collaboration will not be valid. Each group of pre-acrobatic elements may be performed on the floor and with the support of the partners or the partner. These are considered different elements. So only if they are performed on the floor, they're considered different, or with support of the partners. About the dive leap, it is very important, the flight phase. Pre-acrobatic element consists of a leap, like we explained, and a flight phase directly by one roll. One of the gymnasts does not have a flight phase. This is why it's not considered as a CR. Value of this CR, the base value, is 0.1. So it can be increased by additional criteria. Additional criteria can be during the throw of the apparatus, under the flight, or during the catch of the apparatus. Additional criteria is given only one time per collaboration, only on the throw or on the catch, in order, in chronological order. So it's only one time, either on the throw or on the catch. If I have CR2 executed identically by all rotating gymnasts, criteria to be valid. Eventual criteria must be executed identically by all rotating gymnasts to be valid. When executed with the same apparatus, two balls, identical execution, two balls are called identically without the help of the hands. When executed with different apparatus, one ball and one hoop, identical apparatus criteria performed with different apparatus, ball and hoop without the help of the hands. Let's see. So this is on the catch. This is two gymnasts, but only one performed. Okay, we can also take series if two or more identical, one gymnast performing the main action, criteria for CR, two or more identical uninterrupted pre-acrobatic elements around the frontal or sagittal axis. You take it one time, one gymnast performing the main action. Series is for two or more identical uninterrupted pre-acrobatic. It's different than in the group, in the individuals. The individuals is three, here is two or more. For each additional gymnast performing the main action, CR2 or CR3, plus 0.1. Gymnast performing the main action must perform identical rotations to be valid, and each gymnast performing the main action must catch an apparatus. This is, of course, important. So we give for each additional gymnast plus 0.1 for each gymnast until CR3. So we have CR2, CR3. This is an example of CR2. This is an example of CR3. This is an example of CR3 with series, plus 0.2. Also, you can take additional criteria outside visual without the help of the hands, under the leg, catch in a roll, direct catch in a rotation for the hoop. Be very attentive when a gymnast performing the main action is supported by a partner in the execution of the throw or the catch. For criteria, both gymnasts must execute the criteria to be valid. We also have additional criteria for CR, passing over, passing under, and passing through. These are the obstacles. So we can have additional criteria if you pass under the apparatus or the gymnast, or you pass over the apparatus or the gymnast, or you pass through the apparatus or the gymnast. You take additional criteria for 0.1. And you have this specific criterion plus 0.3, one time per collaboration, passing through a partner's apparatus under its flight, everything in the air. So this is an example in the table, how you can count them. So she has CR2, base value is CR01, additional gymnast plus 0.1, it's 0.2. And in the beginning criteria outside visual, the base value became 0.3. CR2 is 0.2, two criterions became 0.4. CR2 and 2 criterions on the catch is 0, 4. Remember, only on the throw or only on the catch in chronological order, you take criteria. So you have no hands on the throw, CR2, and outside visual on the catch. We said only on the throw or on the catch in chronological order. In this case, you will only take 0, 3, which is no hands for 0, 1 and CR2, 0, 2. The value of this collaboration is 0, 3. The last example, no hands in the beginning, CR2, outside visual without hands in the catch. You go in chronological order, so you do not evaluate the criteria on the catch. So the base value is 0.3 of this value. So we have C2 arrows. What is it? A simultaneous high throw, more than 2 heights of the gymnast, or long throw, minimum 8 meters of 2 or more apparatus thrown by one gymnast to her partners, not to herself, performed in one of the following ways. 2 apparatus thrown in 2 opposite directions from each other. Opposite direction in each apparatus is thrown to a opposite from the other. Or if you have 3 or more apparatus, can be thrown in the same or opposite directions. Why it's not possible? Because they were not thrown in different directions, 180 degree, 2 apparatus. This is possible. Why? Because they were thrown opposite direction. Number of apparatus must be thrown by the same gymnast in order to be valid. Minimum of 2 apparatus, or 2 unlocked clubs and 1 apparatus, additional apparatus, 1 club, 1 additional apparatus, 2 locked clubs and 1 additional apparatus. This isolated collaboration, if I'm doing it alone, it's a value of 0.3. But all 5 gymnasts involved in the throw of the apparatus, including assisting a partner in the partner throw or catching the apparatus. If there are 3 or more thrown in the same or opposite direction, they can be in a joint construction as long as there is a minimum of 3 apparatus. In the same direction. So this value of collaboration, if it's isolated like this one, it's a value of 0.3. If it's combined with a CR, then the value becomes 0.2. 2 apparatus thrown in opposite direction from each other. It's not valid for locked apparatus, or 3 or more apparatus thrown in the same or opposite direction. They can be thrown in a joint construction. Additional criteria can be increased on the throw, outside visual, without the help of the hands, and under the legs. For the catch, it is simultaneous catch of the multiple apparatus from a high or more than 2 heights of the gymnast, or long throw of 2 or more apparatus received from her partner, not from herself. You cannot have the same apparatus thrown together for C2 arrows to be the same for C catch of 2 arrows. They must be from different partners. It is not valid with locked apparatus. This is catch of multiple apparatus. The value, if isolated, is 0.3. We increase this catch by additional values outside visual without hands and catch of one or more apparatus directly in rotation for the hoop, also plus 0.1 for the catch. So we have collaborations with dynamic elements of body rotation can be combined. We can combine them with the throw of 2 arrows or the catch of multiple apparatus, but cannot be both together. When CR is combined with the throw of multiple apparatus, criteria will only be given for the multiple throw, not for an eventual isolated throw. What does it mean? If when CR is combined with a throw, the criteria will only be given for the throw of the 2 arrows. When the CR is combined with the catch of multiple apparatus, criteria will only be given for the multiple catch and not for an eventual isolated catch. Let's see example. So, isolated throw, whether it has criteria outside visual without hands, it will not be given. The criteria will only be given for the multiple apparatus when they are combined with CR. Example here, the base value outside visual CR2, 0.2. So this collaboration value is 0.3. It's one collaboration. Then we have outside visual in C multiple 2 arrows plus CR2. So the first one is 0.3 plus 0.2, and these are 2 collaborations. Then we have C multiple 2 arrows outside visual without hands. And then we have outside visual without hands in CR2. The criteria is only given once for the throw. So we will give outside visual without hands with C multiple arrows 0.4. And we will give the CR2. And this is considered as 2 collaborations. Then we have outside visual CR2 with the C2 arrows catch outside visual without hands. It's 0.3 plus 0.4. It's considered 2 collaborations. Then we have outside visual C2 arrows, CR2 plus C2 arrows. You cannot take C2 arrows and catch of C2 arrows. You cannot take both. So we will take outside visual C2 arrows 0.3 plus the 0.2 and consider it as 2 collaborations. The last type of collaboration, we have the lifting, CL. Lifting and support is a specific type of collaboration in group exercises performed by lifting and holding the gymnast at a raised level. Lifting can be performed with various positions of the supported gymnast in space, raised above the shoulder level of the partners in a standing position. When a gymnast performs a rotation supported by her partner below the shoulder level in a standing position, this is not considered a collaboration with lifting. If it's below the shoulder level, supported by her partner, this is not considered as lifting, but as an obstacle. Gymnast may be raised in a lifted position or carried for no more than 4 seconds from the time she is raised up. They cannot be thrown, dragged, or thrust or pushed at any time of the lifting. This value is given only one time, regardless of the number of the gymnasts lifted. We have the isolated collaboration value 0.2, but it has all 5 gymnasts to be involved in the lifting and supporting of the gymnast, including raising a partner or being lifted out supporting. higher than the shoulder level, and all 5 gymnasts are participating. So by this, we concluded the collaborations. And now I go to your questions on the chat room. If I do 25 collaborations and make a mistake in the first 2 in sequence, the last 2 collaborations count? No, I go only up to the 23 difficulty collaborations in chronological order. If I lost something, I do not take the extra. CC can be a maximum of 0.5, correct, but not in a construction or a transmission. No, in a transmission you can, but construction you cannot. Because in a construction you only make a shape.
Right.
So you cannot take outside visual without hands.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. CR2 is plus 0.1. CR3 is plus 0.2. Yes, you add plus 0.1 for each additional gymnast, correct. But if you are CR4, you do not give plus 0.1 more. Only maximum is CR3. It's okay to have criteria for throw and catch. For the example, it's okay to have criteria for throw and catch for the example number 4. Let me check what is example number 4. Yes, because you quote in the end and you threw in a different, when we say outside visual without hands, you cannot combine them because you cannot combine isolated with the throw in the main action. But you quote the C2 arrows. That's why you can take on the C2 arrows outside visual without hands, because you didn't combine it with the main action, the CR. Is there an answer on the number of steps tolerated in the lifting I asked last time in the webinar hosted in Malaysia? I took your questions and it will come to the questions and answers in the FIG. We're still working on this. So this point will be clear with the questions and answers published in the code of form. Marwan, can you share the questions you received?
Yes, just 1 minute, please. So just I will mute some participant. Okay. Okay, so let me share 1 minute, please. Share. Okay, so let's start with this one. So you can see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, so just let me hide this. Okay. So this is the video. So let me share the question first. The question is from Korea Lee J. She is asking, can player use a simple when receiving a bounced ball from she arm, not hand? Okay, so this is the question and this is the video. So is it
You
clear?
mean that catch without the help of the hands?
Yeah, the question is like this. Yeah, can player use a simple when receiving a bounced ball from she arm, not hand? I don't know exactly. Technically, I am not sure. So Noha, it's clear, or we go for other question, or you'll answer?
I will go. No, I will answer her question. Just one moment.
Okay.
If you go to page 47 in the table of the body difficulty, summary table of general additional criterias, we have it first for the R, direct rebound on the body without any stops from any part of the body except arm or hands. In this case, if you catch with this, like I explained with the example in the R, you do not take without hands. You take a bounce. You can take the symbol of the bounce, but you do not take rebound. You take but you do not take without hands. The symbol without hands, you do not take it because this is not valid for without hands anymore. Okay.
Okay, so we go for second question.
Yes, please.
Okay, so second question. Okay. So this is question from Rika from Japan. She's asking, what level
This I
does
already
it?
answered her.
Yeah, so it's already. So this is the only two questions I have. So let me check. There is some messages on WhatsApp if somebody sent to me. Okay, it's okay. So it's done. So it's yours, Noha.
Okay.
Can we hear the answer of this last question? Can we get the answer? Miss Rika's question?
But I already answered it before. I said that we transmit here, so we have to check where is the level of the transmission because she was checking the levels. And so you can check the level by where is the transmission. Is it up here, so it is the head and the neck, or it is to the waist, or is below the waist?
Thank you.
Welcome.
Noha, we have one question on a chat.
Yes, I'm reading it. During catch with two apparatus, is it possible to catch one apparatus and rebound the second? If they are immediately with the same gymnast, you mean catch simultaneous apparatus? Yes, it's possible. Why not? If I'm one gymnast, I'm going to catch two apparatus, one like this, one like this. Why not? We have to be creative. Okay, any more questions? No? Okay, then we conclude our sessions. I want to thank you so much for being with you. Again, I apologize for yesterday, for the misunderstanding of the time zones. It's my mistake. And I'm very happy to be with you. And please, if you have more questions, you can send to Gyozal. She will conclude everything and send to me. I will be very happy to work in close collaborations with all Continental Union presidents. And also, Marwan, if you have all the questions that you received, you can forward to me so I can put them in all the questions answers that will be published soon by the technical committee. So everybody will have clear answers for their questions.
Yeah, Noha, I have, there is some comments from different people. They are asking about the materials, like presentation and videos, because there is some lagging. So I don't know the way we can share them, the presentation, because they are very interested with your presentation. So I don't know what is the way to share a video or something. We have done recording, but you know, there is video lagging sometime. So if you suggest anything.
I'm not sure we can share the material. We can only share the video presentation that you recorded, but let me check if the FIG office will agree to share the materials, because this is the work of the whole technical committee. So I'll get back to you in this moment.
Okay, great. And there is other thing, once you finish, there is a different thing. So you can continue if you have anything.
There is one question that came on the chat. During the CR, if 3 gymnasts execute main action and 3 gymnasts need to finish the same criteria, no, you take C3 as before, and if minimum 1 gymnast performs the main action with outside visual without hands, you still take it. This does not change. So what more questions?
Is it possible to take a picture together?
Of course, Marwan, I'm sure he is always doing this. And Gyozal, do you have anything you want to comment or say to our friends?
I don't have a comment, any comment. I have only thank you, dear Noha. I guess many of us get now more than they know before. Thank you so much. Thanks for your practical videos, webinar. And it's always a big work. I know what this, and you did this with a pleasure for us. Thank you so much.
Always pleasure to be with you.
Yeah, Noha. Sorry. Just there is a plan for AGU to make like groups for each technical groups, which is like Facebook groups for each technical interest. So in some countries, the Facebook is not available. So we'll try to find a way to make groups. I think WhatsApp groups is not good idea, because not a lot of people like WhatsApp, especially with good morning, good evening, and such of these things. So we'll try to find a way to make technical groups so all referees can exchange their experience on that groups. So we'll update you with these things by email. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Marwan, for this initiative. It's a very good idea. And looking forward to collaborate with you more and more.
Yes. Thank you, Marwan.
Thank you, Gyozal. Thank you,
For
Noha.
your organization. Thank you.
You organize this, not me.
Okay, Marwan, do you want to take a group photo so we can after finish?
Yeah, so actually, I'm sorry. I'm taking screenshots because some people, they're not sharing the videos. So it's multi-pages. So if the people are interested to take screenshot, they can open their camera now. And I'll try to make like 3-4 screenshots. Okay. So everybody is invited to open his camera, please. so we can take for the people interested. So we will start taking a screenshot after 1 minute. Okay. So if any person interested to take a screenshot to open his camera. Okay. So we will start take screenshots and we will post on the social media. So after 1 minute, I'll take screenshots. So maybe some ladies like to prepare themselves. 1 minute later. Okay.
I know we had more judges and coaches in our webinar because many sit together, the gathered.
Okay, so now because I cannot show all the videos one time, so it's almost 4. Sorry, it's 4. So I take the first one, so then I continue with the other ones. Okay, so this is the second one. This is 2. Now we go for the third page. Okay. So we save it now. Third page. 3, 3, 3. Okay, we go for the last page. Okay. Okay. Akane, are you ready? She just make her hair. So we wait Akane. Okay, so we take the last screenshot. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. I hope I did not miss anybody. Okay, I take a screenshot from.
We have sir.
Okay, so for now I am done.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody,
Thank
and
you,
see you
Marwan.
soon.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Noha.
See you.
Okay.
Thank you,
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Julie.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Noha.
Bye.
Thank you, Giselle. Also, thank you, Marwan.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Everybody. Bye-bye. We hope
Bye.
next time we meet again.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Marwan.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
Time mini time more. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
You are lucky, Java.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye. Java, what are you looking for? You're still waiting. Cap con cap. Bye-bye.
Smale, kapun kap.
Kapkun kap. Salam alaikum.
Assalamualaikum. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
我从那个规则字面理解的话，那就是只要是几个人完成，第一个是必须都完成，你的加分；第二一个呢，就是相同器械，跟那个异地是一样的。相同器械的话，你就必须是相同的方式；不同的话呢，是相同的标准。你看一下这个方式，方式，你看6.5.10，6.5.10。